ch1. You are listening at famvetv.info. Now, this child will be staying with you from today. Even though she was covered with dirt and her hair was messy, she's still pretty like a doll. Hey, greet them. When the director, a middle-aged man with a large build, spoke, the child flinched and shrugged in fright, and sniffed, then she greeted in a loud voice, hello. I am Dana. T/N her name is Diana, but since she's still young she can only pronounce it as Dana. After greeting, unlike other children in the nursery, the child raised its plump arms and waved her hands like maple leaves swaying in the wind. It was the same situation, just like my memories of the past, without an inch of error. Am I dreaming? No, it's not a dream. With my lips wide open and eyes twitching, I shook my confusing thoughts. Haven't I been struggling with hunger all day? Desperately feeling that this wasn't a dream. I stood frozen in thought at the undeniable reality. Was that today, the first day I returned after my death in the Duke of Elred, was the day Diana, the youngest daughter of the Duke of Elred, entered the Tesar orphanage. It's hard to even accept the fact that I returned to my childhood, but I'm utterly perturbed because Diana was right in front of me. As I was about to close my eyes and think deeply to somehow try to understand this situation, there was a whimper somewhere, sniff. Sob. At the sound of little sobs, my eyes widened, lowering my gaze to find the source of the cry. Immediately, my eyes met the clear blue eyes of the child clutching the hem of her sleeve. I was also embarrassed for a moment when I saw her eyes moist with tears. Unknowingly, I stared blankly at the child's eyes, then, as if natural, a man with the same color as her eyes, a man with eyes as cold as ice, came to mind. And the moment I met my death. The day before, in the headquarters of the Information Guild, Terentium. After taking a deep breath, I climbed up a few steps and pushed open the huge closed door, then instantly paused and froze at the spot. What? The guild executives, who were sitting at the round table, turned their heads all at once as if woven together like they had planned it and stared at me. Belatedly, I realized something. I was wondering why everyone had gathered here for a meeting. It's the day when the full moon rises. At this time of the year, the guild's executives, including the master, were especially busy and away for a while. I'm not close to my colleagues except for the executives. It's a moment that felt like being isolated on a remote island. Leah, couldn't you see the sign in front of the door? Then the master asked. Unlike the senior executives, sitting at the upper seats, he only looked like 20.6 years old, but I don't know exactly how old he is. This mysterious man, who's the head of the Information Guild that collects all kinds of information, had no information known to anyone, and he's my boss. Master sighed as he ruffled, sweeping through his black hair. I told you to check that first when entering this room. I'm sorry, I forgot because I was in a hurry. When I answered awkwardly, avoiding the master's red eyes looking at me, I smiled and shook my head. Then the executives around him rushed in and spoke. Master, are you going to just laugh at it? It goes that far every time, and you always fall for it, so Leah can't break her habit. Yes. Besides, it's unbelievable that you even go as far as putting a sign in front of the door because of Leah. Won't it be better to just teach her to knock? Knocking or not, who in the first place would open the master's office like that? I almost thought that this was Leah's room for a moment. Master, you're too soft when it comes to Leah. The executives complained mischievously, but they were all mocking me simultaneously. What do they mean soft? Where exactly? The master ignores me so much. It was when I was grumbling inside that master spoke. Everyone, be quiet. Suddenly, I was bewildered at the master's reaction, as if weighing something. Why are you going to take my side? Was Leah a child who would listen to your teachings such as courtesy? I'm an idiot for having expectations. From the master to the guild executives as a group, they were treating me like a fool. Do you still think I'm a 10-year-old bum walking around the streets? Since then, my face, which boasted to be the most competent person in this guild, has been frowned upon. Besides, one of the best skills I have was hiding my presence, so I knew how to knock when entering a room. In fact, it's because I was in a hurry, but I wouldn't forget about knocking first if I made up my mind. Other information guilds are still anxious to scout me. As soon I became grumpy and pouted, Master beckoned that I come closer. So what's going on? Other executives also turned their heads, saying, right, let's just hear what she has to say. Only then did I remember the business of visiting the master's room. Ah, me mission. I mean, I haven't received any orders for over a week. Is it already like that? When I saw the master speaking slowly, I got excited for no reason. Someone's anxious to become an informant recognized by everyone, not just a first-class informant just by name, master. I screamed, but master just smiled and raised his hand and lightly patted my sulking cheek. As I was hurt by his habit of treating me like a child, master added, okay. I'll give you a mission, so finish it until I get back. You can do it, right, really? Without pride, I asked back, reflecting on his answer, are you really going to give me a proper mission this time? Not a mission like finding out what color handkerchief Uncle Nick of the butcher likes, commissioned by Susan, the owner of the bakery. It's a good mission. Master glanced at me with a strange gaze, then slowly lowered his hand, nodding, wow, master is the best. You're the most handsome in the world. In excitement, I raised my thumb praising the master, just as the executives had taught me. Then the master burst into laughter, finding my gestures ridiculous, and the executives held back their laughter along with the twitching corners of their mouth. That I just worked hard as I was taught, but their response was very uncanny. But why did I feel like the master's hand was about to reach for my neck just now? Or am I mistaken? With my head tilted as I was lost in thought, he continued, go back for now. I'll assign you a mission and have it delivered to you soon. At the master's words, I completely forgot what I had been thinking a while ago and nodded with joy, and that was in less than a few hours. To where? Duke of Elred. Blinking while looking at Jade, I asked him again for confirmation, did the master really entrust me with the task of infiltrating the Duke of Elred? As if I wasn't mistaken, Jade shrugged while giving out notes about today's mission. Yes. You did a good job of infiltrating as a maid not too long ago. So I think that's why he entrusted it to you again this time. However, back then, I was the only woman that's a first-class agent, so I had no choice. The Duke of Elred was the most vigilant place among all aristocratic families in the Empire. As it was a place difficult to access as the imperial family, and trusting me with an infiltration mission also meant that the master had recognized me. However, rather than the joy of finally taking on an important task, I was more bewildered by Jade's docile attitude, which used to sarcastically disparage me every time. At that time, Jade brought up something more to yell at. Actually, all of us know that. You're the most talented around here. What? We all know. I just didn't want to admit it because I'm jealous that the master favors you so much. At Jade's words my mouth opened agape automatically. The compliment he gave was very startling. To be honest, I was so happy that I even wanted to dance right now, but I responded softly, pretending to be calm. That's not true, I'm not being favored. If it were usual, I would have sharply refuted his unpleasant words, but maybe because I was in a good mood, my words came out softly. And no matter how hard I tried, I felt like a smirk would leak out without realizing that it was then. By the way, didn't you say you know someone from the Duchy of Elred? What? When did I? Don't you remember? On the first day you drank alcohol when you came of age, you said something about an orphanage when you were young. Ugh. Did I say that because I was drunk? Embarrassed, I could only blink in confusion. Under the pretext of congratulating me on turning 18 this year, executives once arranged a meeting to bring me closer to my colleagues. All of them were forced to obey the orders of the executives, leading to an awkward, embarrassing precedent. Trying to ignore it, and without fear, I drank a series of glasses in front of me at that time. After that, I couldn't remember anything, and only heard that the master, who arrived late, cleaned up my seat and took me to the dorm. However, the master said I was sleeping peacefully. I didn't know that I talked about my past, so my cheeks turned red out of shame. Well, what can't you say when you're drunk? There's no way I'd have anything to do with such a great noble. I stood up and raised my voice, pretending that everything I said at the time I was drunk was nothing but a bluff, that I didn't clearly see it, because I left so urgently. That Jade was smiling suspiciously. Listen to the full novel at FameTV.info, direct link in the description.